Hi everyone. Today we're going to be going over the global economy. We started off today or yesterday working on globalization and how we trade with other countries and the impact other countries have. We're going to be reviewing some notes on global economies today. In your packet, I'd like everyone to open up to this page in their packet where you will be filling in notes from the PowerPoint. So please take a moment and get your work out. Okay, global economies. Firstly, when we think about our global economy, we need to think not only about our country and how it trades with other countries, but also our state. We pursue this trade because of wealth, and we've seen this in the past with mercantilism and all sorts of different things where in order to get more money, we need to be able to trade with other countries and increase our markets. So this is why we have a global economy. So what actually is a global economy? Well, a global economy is worldwide markets in which buying and selling of goods takes place by all nations. So we're going to see our nations trading for goods that maybe they can't produce themselves, or maybe they don't produce as efficiently as others. And there's a lot of reasons for this, which is what we're going to start. And these 4 reasons are very, very important to review. There are 4 main reasons why we trade. And we kind of touched upon this today when we were looking at where we found items that were made. One of the most common things is to obtain goods or services that we cannot produce ourselves or we cannot produce efficiently. For example, even if we used a greenhouse, we're never going to be able to grow bananas very well in Northern Virginia. So we are going to trade with more tropical climates to be able to do so. Also, just even in this area, we're probably not going to produce cars very well because it's much more of a white-collar industry in Northern Virginia. So we're going to be able to trade for more in different areas, more areas where there's a lot more factories because they can produce those more efficiently. Same thing with why we trade so much with China or India now, because they have a lot more human labor, so they actually do a lot more manufacturing of our goods. Another reason is to buy things at a lower cost. Same thing with, as we said, a lot of jobs are being outsourced to India or China because they can produce things at a lower cost. For example, there are very few socks that are made actually in the United States anymore because socks are very low cost to make overseas and they're inexpensive to ship. So it makes more sense for us to be buying those goods at a lower cost for us. We also do this because we want to create this relationship. As I started off with saying, we pursue this trade so that we can gain wealth. So we are going to buy goods from other countries so that we can actually sell goods and also increase our markets and increase our wealth. And also we really strive to have this idea of worldwide employment, and we want to create jobs worldwide. And a lot of times, jobs that we necessarily in this country don't necessarily want anymore are going to be outsourced to other countries, and we're going to create more jobs where we might be doing more of the innovation, other countries might be doing more of the manufacturing. Virginia and the United States specialize in production of certain goods or services so that we are going to sell for efficiency and growth. And this is kind of tough to think about, but if you think about what Virginia is known for, Virginia in your history classes, you have learned that Virginia is known for growing tobacco and peanuts, and these are things that are specific to Virginia that they specialize in. The United States also has other industries as well. One of the main industry that the United States is known for is its entertainment industry. It's Hollywood. You go to any country around the world, you're going to notice that movies that we produced in LA or in Hollywood are being sent to other countries. So we focus on those types of products that really show our efficiency and growth. Also, the innovation, the ideas behind the technology, the ideas now that we have the Google Glass or the iPad that's your wristwatch. These are things that show that those are where our production needs are. Less on the manufacturing side, but more on the innovation side. Now, all of this globalization is really possible because of our advancement in technology. Without our advancement in technology, we would not be able to be doing these things. Particularly, innovations in technology contribute to the global flow. In other words, we're able to get things more places. By transportation, we now have many different forms of airplanes, boats, cargo, trains, and we still do use a lot of freight trains for transporting goods. But one of the main things is this idea of this increased flow of information. And I'm sure you guys are thinking about it, and you are exactly right. The internet is primarily responsible for this impact and increasing of information. We now can go on the internet, we can Skype with people in other countries, we can buy a product from another country in seconds. And with even, Amazon and all these other internet provider companies, we're able to even get those resources very, very quickly. The cost of using technology has also lowered the cost of production. And you've learned a lot about this in U.S. history. By using new robots and new machinery, we are actually able to make things less expensive. For example, our first assembly line looked something like this, where we had, a conveyor belt, but people were standing along the side of the assembly line. Today, our assembly line looks more like this, where everything is done by robots, and machines. Machines don't need, breaks. They don't need lunch breaks. There's not as much human error. You also need less people. Now, this also affects our employment, because with more machines doing this kind of manual labor, there's less human resources that are required. These technology changes have really changed our way of decision making and also our global flow. I mean, I see it in the classroom every day. We see students with their iPads and their smartphones, and 10 years ago that wasn't even a possibility. So life is very different today than it was before. We used to see kids sitting around a radio. Today, they're using television and computers and their iPhones and iPads. They used to, things are not the same way as they are today. We see a lot more technology in homes, not even just, the ones that we think of that occurred in the 1950s and 60s with washers and dryers and things like that. But today, your home and leisure activities are very different than they were before. Even your workspace, when you become in the workspace that you will be going into when you get a job, will be very different than the workspace today. If you talk to your parents, they would not say a classroom with many computers and smart boards and surround sound speaker systems. But what you're going to go into is going to be even different than what we see today. And I love this cartoon here, because you can see here we have it's a caveman cartoon that says, when are you going to stop wasting your time with that science fiction nonsense and start dealing with reality? This dream of innovation, and many of you have this insightful dream of what is possible. You guys are going to be creating the technology that is going to influence not only our daily lives, but also our global economy in the future. So what is important about this? First of all, the United States pursues international trade in order to increase wealth, and our interdependence among our nations has grown to our global economy. Now, this can be a little bit of a scary thing, because with our increased interdependence and connection, interdependence means connecting, when one nation has an economic crisis, like for example in 2008 when the banking crisis, it not only affects us, it affects the worldwide market. So now with all of our interdependence, we need to be aware of what's happening around the world. In the next part here, I'm going to post or put up a few questions here. I'm going to give about 15 seconds for each question. On the bottom of your answer question page right here, quick check, you'll see 6 questions. Here you can write your answers. Feel free to, as you are watching the questions, I'm not going to read them aloud, But do take your time and feel free to pause the video at this point so that you can see your question and really think back. Try maybe not to even look at the top of the page. See if you can answer the questions on your own. Here's the first one. Okay. And the second question, I'll read the question. A major advantage of trading with other nations is that... The next question, states and nations trade to... States and nations also trade to... A reason why states and nations trade is to... And lastly, the global economy is a... Tomorrow, we will go over those answers very quickly prior to make sure that you received all the information on the global economy. Thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.